You're listening to the Keep Optimizing podcast to increase your traffic, improve your conversion rates, and grow your profits.
Hello and welcome. If you're looking to improve the performance and return on investment of your marketing, then you have come to the right place. I'm Chloe Thomas, the host of this marketing-focused podcast, and it's very, very cool to have you tuning in. In today's episode, we're wrapping up our content marketing series with that crucial content type, user-generated content, also of course known as UGC and CGC, which we will be referring to as we go through this. To discuss what user-generated content is it a flash in the pan or is it sticking around? And exactly how you should go about using it, I'm joined by Joanna Steele. And Joanna was a very popular guest way back in January 2020 on the e-commerce master plan podcast. It's brilliant to be able to bring her back to give us kind of an update in the world of UGC and how you can use it to help grow your business. We're going to get on with all of that in a moment, but before we do, please do check out the sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Klavio, the ultimate e-commerce marketing platform for brands of all kinds and sizes. Whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out or you're part of a marketing team at a multinational brand, Klavio will give you everything you need to create memorable marketing moments, building customer relationships that keep shoppers coming back time and time again. Get started with a free account today. Visit klavio.com/masterplan. That's KLAVIYO.com/masterplan. Today, I'm chatting with content marketing expert Joanna Steele. Joanna Steele is the UGC queen. What Joanna doesn't know about getting customer reviews and using them to increase sales is very little. Until February 2020, she was the senior reviews and customer-generated content manager at Argos. That's one of the UK's leading high street retailers and the third most visited website in the UK after Amazon and eBay. And now she's an award-winning digital marketing and e-commerce strategist. Hello, Joanna.
Hello, good afternoon, Chloe. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to have you back talking about such an important, crucial topic. It's always good to catch up with you. You always bring loads of great quality. So I'm looking forward to getting into what everyone out there can do with their user-generated content. But before we get into that, Joanna, how did you end up in the world of content marketing?
God, it's a good question. I think I've always been a writer to some degree, whether it's journaling, whether it's sort of writing articles, and I actually really enjoyed sort of English at school, sort of to take it back. But in terms of, sort of how I sort of started my career, started in sort of traditional marketing and PR. So things like writing press releases was something that a skill that I honed pretty early on. And then as I suppose marketing and PR became digitized, I sort of was able to sort of bring that skill set along with me. So I think within the retail space, I worked within sort of social media realm, and that's all about content marketing, whether it's sort of writing posts, scheduling posts, thinking about imagery, videos, etc., and how to communicate a message about your brand to your customers. So yeah, I sort of started in the social media realm, and then that kind of developed into sort of more editorial content. So as we saw the benefits of SEO and how customers were engaging with brands, not just because of the products and the services they sold, but also sort of, the topics and themes around those products and services. So over time, it's become more and more important for brands to not only talk about what they sell, but also the environment in which they sell their products, right? So how do we better inform our customers to understand that what we've got is what's important for them? So what other bits of information can we provide to them to support them with whatever product we're selling? So whether it's tips, whether it's how-to usages of a product, everything that we think that a customer needs in order to make sure that they're using the product to the best of their ability. So I think it's, for brands, it's become so important now to talk not just about the thing, but also about the environment that the thing sort of sits in, if you like. And I think it helps customers to really use the product, right? So it's not just about, the benefits and the features of a product, but it's about how does this product solve my problem? And I think it's really important for brands to sort of be part of that conversation, and understand as well how different customers use their products differently. So you can use that information to inform your messaging, to inform sort of new products that you might bring to the table, new features that you bring to the table. So I think content marketing is something that I think has increasingly become important. And I think it's a way in which a brand can communicate with their customers without doing the sort of big sell, but how they can help, support and inform their customers. So they say it's around, educating, entertaining and inspiring. And I think that's what more and more brands need to be doing in order to sort of stand out and better serve their customers. So I kind of started in the social media realm, sort of I worked for Mothercare, former mother and baby retailer. And sort of in that industry, it was a lot about peer-to-peer marketing advice. If you imagine being a first-time mum, kind of don't know what to do, where can you get that information from? And, a large proportion of the time it's from other mothers. And as a brand, how do you participate in those conversations? How do you empathize with your customers, but also help inform them so that, you're able to not just sell products, but to support someone during that kind of very anxious but exciting time of their life. And so that's where I would say sort of I delved into more editorial content. So that was around, stages of pregnancy, childbirth, labor, but also as your child grows up, what to look out for, the terrible twos and all the different stages. And so it wasn't just about, we sell prams, but it's about, okay, we're here with you along this journey and we're going to supply you with information to support you along the way. And so that's kind of where I suppose I got my teeth into editorial content and the benefit of how that content can support customers.
And Joanna, what I find quite interesting about what you're saying is that you got into the world of content through working for a business where it was crucial to do that educational piece. No one's, most people buying their first pram have no idea what they're buying, what they need or anything else. They need that help and advice to see them through it. And I think what's interesting to me is like there you have to do the content if you want to sell. There's no choice. You've got to do your own content, your editorial, and you've got to get some user-generated content going as well. But it strikes me that importance over the last few years has been growing in every sector, whether you sell light bulbs or whether you sell something really complicated. It's kind of every business can't afford to avoid content, and user-generated content is now what kind of separates the best from the mediocre. Would you agree?
Definitely would agree with that. I think brands for sort of too long were sort of, championing themselves, right? We sell this, we're amazing. But actually, the voice of the customer is so important. And it's important that as a brand, you amplify that voice of the customer and also learn from it. Because I think what some brands have been sort of scared of is customers perhaps speaking negatively about an experience. But I think you can always turn that negative into a positive, right? So yes, it's great to get good reviews, ratings on your products and services, but actually it's a really good way to find out what's going wrong. And so you're able to adapt and change and amend and sort of create a service or product that is best suited to your customers' needs. And your customer evolves, right? So their needs, their requirements change. And how do you sort of keep up with that change? By having that two-way dialogue, facilitating that two-way dialogue and ensuring that the products, services and content you create aligns with the ever-changing and ever-evolving customer.
It's kind of cool how not only this is what doesn't make sense to me why more companies aren't investing heavily in user-generated content, because A, someone else writes the content for you. B, in the act of creating I shouldn't say write, I should say create, because we're not just talking about written here, but in the act of creating the content, they're giving you amazing feedback that helps you make your business better. And 3, what your customers are creating as content, your customers are far more interested in than what you create as content. It's just an amazing 3-part kind of piece. So So as we're seeing, clearly the power is there. Have you seen, as we've gone through all the crazy that is 2020, more businesses embracing or more businesses needing to embrace user-generated content?
So definitely more businesses needing to embrace. Sort of you mentioned, obviously, with the retail, as it is at the moment, whereby shops are closed or there are restrictions on whether you're able to use changing rooms, etc. So that kind of points back to what I was saying earlier around the landscape is changing and how customers shop is changing. And therefore, how can we best inform our customers on these products and services, so that they feel that they trust what we're saying, and trust other customers, right? So there's a stat that says 92% of customers trust recommendations from other people, even if they don't know them, because as a customer, I'm not necessarily affiliated to the brand in any way. I've used their product and I've loved it, or I've used their product and I've not liked it. So there's no kind of bias in that opinion. And I think customers want the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I always say. And so I think it's even more important to be able to know what you're getting, right? I'm not able to go to a shop potentially in the same way that I have been able to. So how can I make sure that this product is for me? I want to see it in use. I want to see it in situ. I want to be able to read, the pros and the cons about that product. And so, user-generated content is the best way for brands to really sort of, educate their customers about their products, particularly during this time where getting to shops is a bit more difficult.
And are we seeing the lovely youth of today, our millennials, our Gen Zs, do they care as much about UGC, or are they jaded to the idea of, fake UGC, I suppose? Do the youth still care? Is this important for brands targeting them too?
Definitely. I think, the increase in usage of TikTok, which is, the Gen Z platform, is testament to that, the younger generation want to know what other people are doing, their peers, what they're sort of the content they're creating. And it's important for a brand to have a position and a space on those platforms. And there's a stat around, I think 84% of Gen Z trust companies that use real customers in their ads. So long gone are the days of, the models and the actors. Actually, I want to be able to see a customer that represents me or looks like me. And so I'm more likely to believe that product is for me. And so it's increasing in loads of different ways, but definitely the way that Gen Z sort of are, the way they kind of perceive brands, and authenticity is such a big thing. It's a really important element, and that's how UGC can help you as a brand sort of showcase your authentic self. It's really important for your customers to sort of tell the story of your brand as well. Ultimately, it's them that are using your product or service. And so to get them to share their stories kind of takes the responsibility away from you. Don't just listen to us, listen to real people, and let those people be the advocates of your brand.
Yeah, and if they've got your brand completely wrong, it means you've got your brand completely wrong. We should just add there. Okay, so clearly UGC is important for all customer bases. It's becoming more so. But I find we talk a lot about creating it. We've done episodes on creating it on this podcast already. We talk a lot about having a review system on your website, but we don't often talk about where to then use it once you've collected it all, where to then use it for greatest effect. So once we've got this user-generated content, actually, before we even get into that, what format should user-generated content take right now? Because I think when you and I caught up around about this time last year to record an episode for the e-commerce master plan podcast, we were pretty much exclusively talking about written reviews. And it seems to me in 2020, there's loads of people getting customer video reviews and getting photographed reviews. And it seems like the day of just writing a review and putting a star rating is long gone. So what types of content should we be aiming to get from our customers?
All of it in a nutshell. So star rating still very much important. Written content, again, still very important. Images, where you're able to visualize what the product looks like in situ, and video content is a good way of showcasing the product in use. So depending on the type of product you sell, different formats will lend themselves better. But if possible, the most mundane of products, you see people sort of creating videos that sort of, educate, entertain, and inspire. So I always sort of say, in as many formats as possible, is really a good way to sort of approach it.
Okay, so let's then go back to the question I was originally asking, which was where we should use it. And let's assume we're a retailer who's got star ratings, they've got written reviews, they've got great customers who are sending in video reviews and who are also sending in photographs. So we've got all the content we could wish to pick from. Where should we first start using it? What do we do with it to up those sales?
Yeah, I think you use it across all of your channels. So I can give you a few examples of things that I know that have worked in the past. But, if it's an email marketing campaign, of course, yes, you can put star ratings, you can put snippets of reviews, which might be highlighting particular features or benefits of that product. But also something as simple as, top 10 rated products by our customers. So actually you are putting forward not necessarily the products that are on sale or the products where you have, loads of stock that you wish to get rid of, but actually, these are the top 10 rated products of our customers this week. So you're bringing in that kind of, real time. They could be completely unrelated, and usually are. But yeah, I think it's, again, putting the customer at the forefront of your comms and your messaging. This is what you guys like. This is what other customers like. And so I think that's a really good way of doing it. I'm seeing a lot of, particularly for clothing brands, I'm seeing a lot of usage of customer images in paid social ads and in organic social content as well. Again, moving away from the models, but actually this is what this product actually looks like on a real person. And with the kind of the fantastic cameras that we've all got and filters, we're all our own sort of photographers, aren't we? So some of the content that's being produced is amazing quality.
It seems to me that that's been something which the pandemic and lockdown has pushed as well, because I've seen a lot of brands who have been doing our buying team wearing our products at home, to create kind of that emotional connection, and then also doing our customers, because of course, certainly for large parts of this of 2020, organising a photo shoot has been a logistical nightmare from every angle. And that, I think, has caused people to go, how else can we do this? Well, how are other people doing it? Let's actually, and the thing is, it makes their brand better, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's something that I always sort of knew was coming. So before COVID, it was a case of, some of the budgets that are spent on some of these shoots are huge. And if you're looking to sort of make cuts, or you're looking at, how can we be more efficient with our sort of budget and our spend, actually using user-generated content and using customers, taking their own photos is one avenue to do that. So I think it was always an idea that I presented as something that was going to come. It just probably seems now that it's probably come a lot sooner than anticipated.
And is there, we said about doing, kind of those really cool emails, which I always think are kind of the get out of jail free email, here's the products our customers rated the best this month. It's like, it's easy. It doesn't take much effort, and it's really powerful. It's like, what are we going to send this week? Let's do a top 5 most reviewed products. And we talked about using it in social. and using it in is it basically across everything? Should be on the homepage. It should be everywhere.
It should be everywhere. In terms of sort of discovering products as well, particularly sort of, during Christmas gifting, people want to know, okay, what can I buy, my aunt or whatever. UGC is a really good way of discovering new products. And so something that I did when I was at Argos, and I'm seeing a lot more brands doing now, is sort of curating galleries on site. And again, that's just showing images of UGC images, which are shoppable. So you are tagging what product that customer is wearing and then making it easier for that customer to then buy that product. So curating galleries is a really good way of doing that. And you can do that by, if it's clothing, I don't know, I was going to say like night out dresses, probably not that appropriate, but you can sort of have different kind of galleries and allow people to really explore and discover new products. And so that's a really good way of doing it. And even, I know we've talked about the restrictions in store, but, if you've got sort of screens in store, again, you can still showcase those images as a sort of point of inspiration. Yes, you can see something and what it looks like on the shelf or on the rack, but actually if I look to my right and there's a screen and there's a real person wearing this particular product, then again, it just helps with sort of inspiring me and giving me an idea and how I can picture what it would look like on me. So yeah, I think all channels that you use to kind of showcase your products. And I think what we'll see moving into 2021 and beyond is probably a lot of user-generated content used in above-the-line campaigns. Again, we sort of mentioned the restrictions with shoots and productions, large budgets, the inability to move around in the same way. So actually, could we use user-generated content for some of those sort of above-the-line campaigns, which could be a bit more real time, faster turnaround, and still drive home that kind of authentic message.
I think especially because, as you said, so many brands are now using user-generated photography for their Facebook ads, for their Instagram ads, and seeing great results from it. It's like, well, why wouldn't you go, well, if that's working in that ad format, time to take it to another ad format. Well, thank you for all of that, Joanna. We're now going to pause for a reminder of our sponsors, and then we're going to be talking about the wider world of content marketing. Success in 2021 means building stronger relationships with your customers. Last year saw a lot of consumers switching to buy online, leading to surges in new customer acquisition. So how are you planning on turning your new first-time buyers into profitable repeat customers? Well, that's what Klavio is for. Klavio helps businesses create memorable marketing moments through email, SMS, and personalised website experiences. And that is what creates repeat purchases. That's why Klavio, the ultimate e-commerce marketing platform, is used by over 50,000 e-commerce brands around the world. Get started with your free account today. Visit klavio.com/masterplan. That's KLAVIYO.com/masterplan. Okay, Joanna, we've gone far deep into user-generated content and what to use it for. Now you get to wow us with your insider knowledge about the whole of content marketing. So for the following questions, your answer can be anything to do with content marketing, which of course does include user-generated content. Joanna, are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay, let's start with content marketing newbie advice. If we've inspired someone to take their first step with content marketing, what do they need to know to give themselves the best chance of success?
Don't just expect to get positive feedback, and understand that any negative feedback is just as useful as positive feedback about your products, and not to hide it, right? How can you... if you do get some negative feedback on a particular product or service, how can you sort of delve into that in a bit more detail, find out a bit more about what that problem was, and work with that customer or those set of customers in order to rectify those problems. So I think always feedback, good or bad, I think understand that it's ultimately going to benefit your business.
Nice. Okay. Once you've started, of course, you've got to keep optimizing. So what's your favorite way to improve content marketing performance?
I think like anything, it's, make sure that you're very data driven. So understand what your objectives are, understand how you're measuring success, and then, keep tabs on that and keep monitoring that over time, and just to test and trial things. Sometimes things are not going to go right. You might have this fantastic idea that, you think is going to work and it's not, but don't be put off. And actually it's just showing you one thing that hasn't worked. So there's still a learning in that. So I would say, really sort of be specific, have a sort of clear objective, how you'll measure that success, and just do it. And then sort of keep iterating and keep tweaking. Something that may have worked 6 months ago, may be less effective now. Something that might not have worked 6 months ago might be a good time to try it again. So I think don't be afraid to sort of try things out. Whether it's something that you've seen other brands do, or if it's just sort of a brand new idea that might sound a bit out there, but sort of give it a go is what I would say.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? There's no kind of rule book yet in this space. It's very much test, try, test, tweak it, try it somewhere else, and find the recipe that works for you.
Definitely.
Okay, it's impossible to improve our marketing unless we're monitoring the performance. But the list of stuff we could monitor can be overwhelming. So what for you is the number one content marketing KPI?
I think a lot of people always talk about reach. I think that works for, brand awareness. But engagement is when you know that the content that you're creating is adding value. And, that's likes, comments, etc. And I think, if you're thinking from a UGC perspective, then how can I tell that customers are engaged with my brand? And a good way of looking at that is, okay, well, how many reviews am I getting? I'm asking for feedback. Am I getting that feedback? Because I think ultimately customers do want to tell you their thoughts and their opinions, and they value brands that value their opinions. So I think engagement is a kind of key KPI to really focus on. But like I said, that might mean different things to different people. But for me, it's about actually, if I have engaged that customer, it means that I'm giving them something of value.
Nice. I love that. Engagement as a measure of value. Okay, cool. Finally, it's crystal ball time. What's coming up in the next 6 to 12 months we should be getting ready for in our content marketing?
Video. It's here. It's been here. It's here to stay. I definitely, and if I think about sort of, everyone talks about content being king, but actually I sort of say, it's going further than that, and user-generated content, UGC, is king. As I mentioned, we've seen the uptick in people using TikTok and sort of that generation. And I think it's becoming more and more important for them to see themselves and to see other customers telling the story of a brand. So, and I think we're going to be doing that more and more through video.
Yep, video definitely not going anywhere. Okay, Joanna, we are very nearly at the end of the show. So it's time for you to let the listeners know where they can find you and your business on the web and social media, please.
I'm everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, Joanna Steele. I'm on Instagram, joanna.diana.steele. My business is dimaxdigital.com. I write quite a few articles, largely around sort of digital strategy, but sometimes quite focused on user-generated content. So, and there's an ebook in the works as well, which is going to be focusing on UGC specifically. So, follow me on the socials and keep an eye out for that.
Oh, cool. You have to let us know when that ebook comes out, and we'll send it to everyone out in our newsletter too, because I know that's going to be high value. Cool. And Joanna, you're mainly focusing on Central and Western Africa these days.
Yes, there's a lot going on in the on the continent, particularly within the sort of tech ecosystem in sub-Saharan Africa. The internet penetration is increasing year on year. Mobile adoption is, record levels, and we're seeing sort of the technological infrastructure being built across the continent. So there's a lot of opportunities here where we're seeing customers becoming increasingly connected, and a growing middle class as well. So there's a real focus on brands to tap into that sort of connected consumer here on the continent. So I'm working with a number of organizations to help them become customer focused, to help them build communities, and to help them use content to reach those connected customers.
Very cool. Slightly jealous you get to go and hang out in warm countries, as it's miserable here in the UK as we're recording this.
It's almost too hot here though at times, but I'm not going to complain.
Awesome. Well, Joanna, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It's been great catching up with you again, and also getting some great tips and advice for our audience about user-generated content. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Really great to catch up with Joanna there, and really key lessons, I think, about user-generated content. If you're not gathering user-generated content, if you're not using that user-generated content in every one of your marketing methods, be it your Facebook ads, be it in your Google ad text, be it in your organic social media activity or your email marketing, your push marketing, your text marketing, the homepage, in your parcels, wherever you're communicating with your customers, there's a role for it. You just got to work out which bit you should be using. Should it be the stars? Should it be the text reviews? Should it be imagery? Should it be video? So important to get it out there, because what we see time and time again are results that show that this works. And as we were talking about earlier, not only is user-generated content become more vital because of everyone shifting to online as the pandemic's gone along, it's also something which Gen Z, the youth of today, they are ever more relying on and ever more believing in. It's what they want to see. They want to see real people talking about your product, not so much you talking about your product. And get links to everything we've discussed, the full transcript of the episode, important notes and more at keepoptimizing.com. Remember, that's with an S, not a Z. And thank you for tuning into this episode of the Keep Optimizing podcast. It's very cool to see so many of you tuning in week after week. So we really appreciate you doing that, because it's really cool to see the podcast stats going up, because it means we're helping more of you. We've got a great lineup coming up for you in 2021, which, in terms of user-generated content, we've surveyed our listeners, and therefore we are bringing you the content and the months and the focuses that you've asked for next year. The whole of our content marketing month is now live. So please do have a listen to the whole of Content Marketing Month and make sure you've got all your content marketing and strategy for 2021. Next week, next Wednesday, we're going to be starting the first of our sessions of 2021. And this first one is all about getting your e-commerce foundations right for the year ahead. Because if there's one thing I learned in 2020, it's that the businesses that had the right foundations in place are the ones who were able to make the changes, to tweak, to adapt to everything that 2020 threw at us. So we're going to start off by covering getting your tech stack right. So what technology should you be using? How do you future-proof it? We're also going to be talking about reporting, getting the right numbers, what numbers to look at, how to set it up to make it easier to do it. We're going to be talking about your team and a few other things as well. If you know someone else who's keen to set themselves up for success in 2021, please do let them know. We've got our e-commerce foundations month starting next Wednesday. Have a great week, and make sure you listen to the next episode so I can help you to keep optimizing your marketing.
Access everything Keep Optimizing at keepoptimizing.com. That's with an S, not a Z.